Welcome to the REALL Academy, brought to you each Saturday at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time by the
Systems DoctHers,
Dr. Sheka Houston and Dr. Tammy Taylor, best-selling authors, consultants, and speakers of Create and Educate LLC. Create and Educate LLC is an educational consultant and literary firm that provides professional development to schools and community. Their goal is to transform organizations with the REALL Resilient framework used to increase their school report card grades 2 and 3 grade levels in 1 year. REALL stands for Respect, Excellence, Accountability, Literacy, and Leadership. This framework is used to coach leaders and teachers and build student efficacy while putting systems in place that aligns the work of the school improvement, making the process manageable. When the work is manageable, teachers and leaders don't stress out or burn out.
the Systems Doctor
Alignment systems are designed to help schools evolve and grow, all while instituting protocols and processes designed to promote collaboration and collegiality. The implementation of the alignment framework prevents some of the most common problems in education, where leaders sometimes aren't sure where to start, or in our new age of educating, leaders need a trusted sounding board that allows them to be vulnerable and transparent, preventing loneliness at the top. The framework doesn't just help leaders, but also prevents teachers from burning out from too many initiatives and embracing teachers as they are the experts. Finally, the framework extends to the children, helping them get engaged in school and solving a nationwide problem. Alignment systems are frequently referred to as a key element of success in the improvement process. In the sport of rowing, all rowers must put their oars in the water, succinctly creating a system for their boat to reach maximum speed. So schools that want to improve are bringing in
the Systems DoctHers
to teach them all about the alignment systems that must be in place for school improvement to be accomplished at high levels. The dynamic duo provides insights into educational topics through their international platform, which includes educators, parents, and community members as a way to support important entities that make communities thrive. This is their way to pay it forward and provide the support they needed through their platform. Take a look. People who work with the
Systems DoctHers
describe them as an excellent and inspiring group of leaders. They get into the weeds of work with leaders through their TrustMate Institute that you should contact them about today by filling out the contact form on their website.
Great Saturday, everyone. It is Super Saturday. Welcome to episode 201 of the REALL Academy, brought to you by Create and Educate with your very own Systems DoctHers, HERS. I am Dr. Sheka Houston. I'm going to unmute you, Tammy. Oh, you have to do it.
Is it working?
Yep.
Did it do it that time?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, good. Good morning, everybody. Yep. I'm Dr. Tammy Taylor.
Hey, Tammy.
Good morning, Sheka.
So if this is your first time tuning in, you may be thinking, who are the Systems DoctHers?
Well, we are so glad that you asked. We are best-selling authors, speakers who transformed our schools with report cards that move 2 and 3 levels in just a single year. We are award-winning leaders, STEAM School of Excellence, the Palmetto Silver Award for Academic Growth, Local Entrepreneurs Accelerator Program Award, Avid MC Selection, and most recently, Avid Global Achievement Nominee Selection for the elementary category.
Most definitely. And we did this together as trustmates. We're going to figure out how to we got to practice this when we high five each other where it's showing right on the screen. We'll do that next week. But we did this as trust mates in education because it doesn't have to be lonely at the top. And these are all the ways that we create and educate so you can thrive. So on Marketing Mondays, if you have anything that you market to schools, we help you with that from the school leader lens. Our nonprofit class, we talk to them about how we have experience managing over $37 million in education funds from the school level. So having insight into how people spend that money is helpful when you're trying to market something to the schools. Talk About It Tuesdays, we're helping church leaders bridge the generational gaps in church, and we are really excited about all of the churches that we're working from the Detroit area all the way down to Florida. Our nonprofit collaborative, and shout out to our class that we just had in conjunction with York Tech. It went really well. We met so many phenomenal women and men who want to do something in the nonprofit arena, just great visions. We hope that they all come to fruition. So we also have a nonprofit collaborative where we help those people and other people who have visions in the nonprofit arena bring them to life. Did you want to say anything about the class, Tammy?
Yeah, I thought it was incredible. We really, as Sheka said, had a phenomenal group. It was an opportunity to connect with people who absolutely have a passion for what it is they want to do and what they want to offer to their local communities. And I know that it was a humbling experience to be able and have been asked to do the work, but it was very humbling getting in there and working with those folks who have a heart to do the things that they've been called to do. It was absolutely incredible.
It was. I loved it. And shout out to York Technical College, who we partnered with to offer that class. On Wellness Wednesdays, we make sure that you know your team's personality. We helped our nonprofit attendees learn their secret sauce to their nonprofit, and so many groups just have a really great time with that. And then on Real Me Thursdays, we make sure that anyone serving our young men and young women really help them identify their identities so they can really thrive as their true selves in a society that sometimes doesn't see them the way that we need for them to be seen. Fill My Cup Friday, we are building our brothers and sisters in order to build our families, and that is strengthening the African American community as a whole. And then on Super Saturdays, Tammy's going to run through this one.
Oh, yeah, for sure. On Super Saturday, each episode, of course, is a part of our live stream network, The Fantastic Four. And it begins each Saturday at 10 a.m. with Principal Sean Hurt, who again was on fire today and told us to make sure we are up to date with what it is we're supposed to be doing, to bring parents into the school and have these kids lead discussions about how things are going in their school life. And then we follow, of course, Principal Hurt each Saturday with Create and Educate's The Real Academy, yours truly, and Dr. Sheka Houston. We are also followed on Saturday by the GOAT, the Leader's Mentor, and the All Things Education Man of the Hour, Principal Kafele, with the AP and New Principals Academy. And then we round this out on Sundays with the PGP podcast with Dr. Moreno and Principal Josh Tovar. And again, this is a part of our Fantastic Four family. So we ask that you like, share, send stars, make comments, do all of the things that the platform requires to help us to build our algorithms. And we say please and thank you for all of that. And once again, shout outs to York Tech and all of the participants that we had this week. and the city of Chester for their fireworks show.
Most definitely. And on Sundays, this is Superpower Sunday, last but not least, but we are very appreciative of all the love that we have received on our pre order session started last week of our new children's book, Amir's Awakening, his amazing journey to ancient Egypt from classroom to consciousness. So, pictured here is Amir, the main character of the book, along with Jasmine, the other main character of the book, and they have an amazing journey with their guide that is pictured here with them, Mr. Dr. Imhotep. So this is an amazing book that really makes sure children's consciousness is awakened for learning. And so it would be great for several ages. We have a guide that goes along with that. It's a one book, the first book of a 5-book series, and it concentrates on our resilience as my superpower, culturally relevant, social and emotional framework. So all of our work is based on our Create and Educate's super strengths framework that forms 3 systems. So we are very excited to get into our topic for today. And let me bring up the banners.
I'm gonna do our
Where
shout outs first.
Oh yeah, look, forgot all about the shout outs.
Hey, look
Support
at me.
plans. Episode 201. But before we do that, let's get to all of our shout outs because we appreciate each and every one of you. David Bell from Benton Harbor, Michigan. Thank you for joining us. Constance Sherrard out in Pearl, Mississippi. Thank you so much for joining us, and we appreciate all your MTSS work. Miss Jasmine Harris, the queen over on the West Coast, our brother in the work, Principal Josh Tovar. Thank you for joining us. Our other West Coast sister, Stacy L. Joy. Thank you for joining us. Mr. A.P. Patrick Lawrence from Connecticut, we always appreciate you and thank you for joining us. Miss Dot McKeever Jeter, we always appreciate you. Chancellor Richard Davis out in Las Vegas. Verlander Jones, thank you for joining us. Principal Sean Hurt, our other brother in the work, and you were talking good as Tammy stated this morning, Principal Hurt. Leslie Lyles, good morning. Thank you for joining us. And Melissa Jones Chunu, our sister in the work out in Oklahoma. Thank you for joining us. September Devance Vance Daniels, thank you for joining us. And the GOAT, as Tammy stated, the leader's mentor, Principal Kafele, we always appreciate you. Taylor Williams, thank you for joining us. Good morning to you.
I think that's
Is
everybody.
that the last one? All right. And thank
Oh,
you
there's
all.
our friend, Dr. Marcus Jackson.
That's right. Dr. Marcus Jackson out in Houston by way of
Oh, can't
Louisiana.
forget.
And Dr. Roz Gaskins. Thank you all for joining us. We appreciate each and every one of you because you could be doing a lot of things, but you are intentional about being here with us, and we do not take that lightly. So now, Tammy has got me back on track. Now that brings us to episode 201, support plans, because everyone needs support. And, you may be thinking, well, how do you know everybody needs support? Well, one of the things we do is look at our data. So when you look at the data of attendance, enrollment is declining in public schools. If you have not looked at that data, when you look at truancy and chronic absenteeism data, those numbers have not gone back to in a lot of places before our COVID numbers happened. They are steadily in place. And when you look at mental health data, one of our partners here in our county is NAMI. And when you look at the mental health information, just everyone's mental health from certain ages is not really where it needs to be. So when you when we're looking at support, we know from looking at data that a lot of people need support, and some people are struggling in multiple ways. So we've approached this from different looking at our different people that we serve, and we're going to start off with parents. How do we best support parents? And one of the things that was that we saw, that parents of school age children need support with a number of things, but most importantly, they need help learning how to navigate the school system. Sometimes we take for granted that people know how we do things at a school. And so when children, and I recognize this most as a parent, when my children moved from elementary school to middle school and all of those different nuances that I had to learn, where at elementary school they had a folder for all of the communication, they had a system in place. And then when they got to middle school, now you got all these different teachers who have all of their different ways of communicating. One teacher uses Remind, one person sends emails, somebody else does this. So, leaders, keep this in mind when you're trying to help your teachers navigate how this might feel to a parent who has multiple children in one school, because both of my daughters are now at the middle level. But something as simple as a one pager that says, if you need this, do this or contact this person. Something as simple as, who do we send the letters to when our child is absent, an excuse letter, the parent written note. Who do we send that to? At the elementary school, it was the lady in the front office. At the middle school, now it's the teacher. So little things like that. Did you want to add anything to that, Tammy?
Sure, and that can actually become a very simple part of your communication plan that you send out and share with your families every year. In our plan, there is a chain of command, and it's very clearly laid out how communication happens so that parents don't get frustrated. Because this is the one thing that I made my mind up when I came to the school building to be a principal, because remember, I'm coming by way of central office. So I've been a district administrator, and my only school experience was as a teacher. Now, what I decided before I even walked in the door was my school was not going to be the DMV. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't like going to the DMV. I cannot stand to go to the DMV. You got to take a number, and then you've got to go sit down and wait for them to tell you if that number is going to put you in the A, B, or C line. I don't like to go into the DMV, and I didn't want my school to be the school DMV. So you have to put protocols in place that are easy for parents to navigate. Don't send them to the back of the line because they left their driver's license in the car and it needs to be scanned. This is something that we have to really be mindful of, because remember, like Sheka said, parents don't know the nuances of school. This year, and I shout out Mr. Hampton, who helped us to get set up for our Meet the Teacher stations, so parents know where to go and don't have to get sent to the back of the line and they are like, oh my gosh, I got to go start all the way back over. No, that's not what we want. We want to be supportive, as Sheka said.
I love that, Tammy. And as soon as we get off of here, I'm going to do the Canva quote. Don't let your school be the DMV, Dr. Tammy Taylor, because that is the worst school that your school could ever be if somebody comparing it to the DMV. I'm going to let you know. So I love all of that, Tammy. I hope that y'all are taking notes. Miss Constance Sherrod says she's taking notes, because those were some really good nuggets. The other thing that parents really need support with is time management. So when you think about, we're in the information age, parents probably could be just as busy as their children. When you think about, if a parent also has a small business, hello, I'm talking to me, a parent with a small business, a parent who has children who are involved in extracurricular activities. So when you're trying to navigate all of those nuances, That's a lot, and learning how to manage that is a lot too. And so a lot of times, we have literacy nights, and I am not against literacy nights. Y'all know we was calling ourselves the literacy leaders and could still use that because literacy is big for us. We as educators in a lot of instances have not figured out how to really teach our children how to read yet. So we're having these literacy nights to tell parents something that we haven't even cracked the code on ourselves. So time management or calendar nights might be better to try to help them learn how to navigate time management. And this is not from a lens of you're talking down to the parents. And Tammy, if you'll change the banners up here, the
Mhm.
comments. This is not from, we're talking down to the parents. Remember, our messaging is important. The system doctors, we always talk about messaging is important. So we're not talking down to parents. We're coming from the lens of being transparent. Hey, we know that y'all probably need some calendar nights and some time management help because you know who else needs it? We need it. We all need help with time management. So let's come in here and let's do this together, learning how to manage that time together. So calendar nights could even be a fundraiser where you're showing them how to get those large calendars and doing a color coding system with post-it notes and showing them how to schedule different colors for the children, for themselves, for different nights of the week. There's so many things that can go into a calendar night. So parents would be very appreciative of that.
Yeah, I think that the important thing, as Sheka mentioned before, for us to remember when we're providing whatever kind of night it is, and Sheka's to her point with the literacy wars that we still are having. And it isn't anything wrong with literacy nights. We do them every year, literacy and
Mhm.
math. She's just talking about making sure that we are giving parents something that they can truly support their children with, because the issue with the literacy wars at this time is what you see in one district will possibly look different than what you see in a different district, and that kind of thing confuses parents. But one thing is for sure, time is time.
Mhm.
And it doesn't matter where you are, managing your time is going to be impactful wherever you are and whatever you believe.
Most definitely. Now we're going to move over to making sure that we are supporting our teachers. So, what does support feel like to teachers? Um, when asked this in surveys, looking at the data, supportive school cultures are one that values teachers. And these are, from things that teachers have reported. So, when you value someone, you cannot always be looking at them from a deficit lens. And what I mean by that is every time I'm coming up to you, I'm trying to fix you. Nobody wants to be in that toxic relationship where everything is wrong with me. So everything about you, I'm trying to fix it. Nobody wants that, I promise you. Teachers do not want that either. So every time you're talking to a teacher, you should not be trying to fix them. They should not always be the problem. And so when you're looking at what makes a teacher feel valued, one of the things teachers have reported is recognizing their effort. I used to do this by way of my newsletter that I sent out every Monday. And one of the teachers came and told me, she said, I don't know if you know this, but the biggest thing everybody rushing to read on Monday morning is your newsletter because everybody want to see if they got a shout out. And so recognizing people's efforts are important to them. It makes them feel valued. I also used to do handwritten notes, and I would see them hanging on people's bulletin boards for the whole year. They would keep those up because those are things that mean something to people. I even started getting handwritten notes slid under my door, and from the students, not just from the teachers. And what did you want to add there, Tammy?
Well, I love that, the whole idea of the notes. And when I go into a class, it doesn't matter what the actual observation was. I
Mhm.
always leave a positive note for the class, just thanking them for the opportunity to be there. If it's nothing else positive I can say. However, what I think too, in addition to what you were saying about that false sense of I gotta fix, I gotta fix, I gotta fix, I gotta fix.
Mhm.
That's not what you have to do to be a good coach. A coach will also capitalize on the strengths of what they are seeing in a particular classroom. So when you go into a class, you don't always have to leave with something that's wrong. I'm a firm believer that there is something right. And if it's only thank you so much for coming to work today. We didn't have to find a sub for this class. We are able to have that sense of camaraderie, sense of support from my supervisor, my administrator is here to help me, not to critique every single thing that I do. I love, and I know that you're going to get to this next when you talk about that whole sense of the false positivity that we could also create barriers with teachers with. And then I'll share an incident where that can kill your culture.
Okay, and we got a minute left, so we both gonna have to be quick. But some people think that that little hamburger that somebody told somebody about a long time ago in a school, where you start with the positive and then you give them the gut punch, that's the meat, and then you put that last bun on the hamburger and you end with something positive. Everybody recognizes fake. That's what I want to say about that. Go ahead, Tammy, with your
And
point.
we'll start back with that when we finish this up next weekend. Yes, Josh, even Miss Potato Plant has something positive that you can say. I'm
Yes.
so glad to have the potato on the team
Yes.
because potatoes and onions taste really good together. Mhm.
Yes, it's always something. And you got to have something in the tank before you can start making withdrawals with people. If you don't know how to activate people and you don't know how to reach people, because we are in the people business before we are
Yeah.
in any other business, you will not be successful. So make sure that you are doing these things correctly. We know teachers have to be corrected, but guess what? It's a way to do that. And that's what we're talking about. So we are out of time. This is going to have to be a two-parter. We're going to talk about principal support next week and also student support next week. So please join Principal Kafele next. We appreciate each and every one of you all, and thank you for joining us.
Yes, y'all have a good weekend.
Let me get to my closing. Thank you.